Alfred Abulbire is the General Secretary of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, and he provided some answers earlier.
Is that the publication, if we look at it carefully, didn't have any particular officer who signed it. So, yes, we have all cited it, but GPSU as a body have not officially authorized that by Tuesday, 2nd June, first we will be adjusted up by 30%. No, we have not. What I can tell you for sure is that we are in talks with the transport minister, and until that negotiation table is completed, and then for that matter, a particular percentage margin is arrived at, then we will then write officially to our regions, and the regions would to draw that conclusion that by 2nd June we would go to review first up by 20% without recourse to the known protocols. I don't think that one is proper. So we are negotiating with the government, so there's no point giving a deadline as to when you want to effect. You see, the next price window is coming on the 1st June. So we are both monitoring the situation to see whether the fuel prices will be lowered or would actually be increased again. The situation is not off can that you can just tell that fuel prices is in so.
Now, President John Mahama says his government was forced to take bitter decisions to meet performance requirements under the IMF bailout program, accusing the past administration of derailing the facility. At a diaspora town hall meeting with Ghanaians in the UK, he also condemned recent actions by some African countries that defeat African unity. Christian Yale reports from London.
The diaspora town hall meeting with Ghanaians living in the UK was to give Ghanaians here the opportunity to have a direct access to President Mahama to talk matters that relate to national development, their critical concerns, and what they need government to do to support them. The president, in addressing the crowd, indicated that government was forced to take necessary interventions under the IMF program, and he talked about what the current PCI would seek to do going forward.
Unfortunately, after the fourth review, all the performance criteria from June the year before in 2024 had gone completely off track. And so the IMF program was completely derailed off track. We had to take very, very strong decisions. And I'm happy, as he said, to say that the sacrifices that Ghanaians made had paid off.
The president also touched on recent xenophobic attacks and indicated that it is critical that all African countries recognize the need of one another in developing the region.
Under our first president, we pushed for African continental unity, and Ghana has been at the forefront of Pan-Africanism. And I must say that we have achieved our pride of place again at the forefront of Pan-Africanism. We've always pushed for African unity, and so it's sad to see some of the things that are happening on the continent. There's no way that any African country can achieve the kind of progress that it needs without working with other countries. We cannot achieve it in isolation.
Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen says the country's economy is now at a better place.
For the first time, Ghana's economy has crossed $100 billion United States dollars threshold, making it a fully fledged emerging economy. Ghana's economy is now ranked the 8th largest economy in the entire of Africa. And our GDP per capita is today 3,385 Ghana cedis, US dollars for the first time. I'm also proud to inform you that our debt is now sustainable, unlike the past.
Ghana is expected to hold a 2-day high-level investment summit in the UK, which starts on Monday, 1st of June. The High Commissioner to the UK, Zita Benson, highlighted what critical role this would play.
The Ghana-UK Investment Summit is designed to connect businesses and institutions with global investors, promote trade expansion, attract foreign direct investment, facilitate technology transfer, and strengthen institutional collaboration between Ghana and its international partners. Ladies and gentlemen, The responsibility of nation building must necessarily be collective.
Other important discussions like the recent flooding in Accra, as well as government-ambitious Kumasi-Accra Expressway and other critical issues were discussed at the town hall meeting. Christian Yale, TV3 News, London.
Some more here, and health workers at the Ghana Infectious Disease Center are preparing for simulation exercises aimed at testing the country's emergency response systems and readiness to manage suspected Ebola cases. This is Ghana's efforts aimed at increasing surveillance across the sub-region.
Although Ghana has not recorded any case of Ebola, preparedness measures are being intensified across the country. The Minister for Health, together with officials from the World Health Organization, visited the Accra International Airport, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, and the Ghana Infectious Disease Center to assess the country's level of preparedness. During the visit, personal protective equipment was presented to airport authorities to support frontline workers and strengthen screening and surveillance measures at the country's port of entry. The WHO representative to Ghana, Dr. Fiona Braka, urged the public to remain vigilant.
Ebola is a serious disease. Currently, the strain we are dealing with does not have a vaccine or approved therapeutics. And so it's going to take all of us to ensure that we understand the disease, that we understand how it is spread, and that we take the necessary measures as individuals, as communities, and as a nation.
Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Akando, after inspecting the facilities, expressed optimism about Ghana's level of preparedness.
All that we expect from you is to adhere to the precautionary measures. From today, there should not be any mass gathering without a hand washing station. From today, we have issued that advisory and we still stand by it. And it is more important now. And I believe that if we check our borders, whether the land borders or the airports, and we adhere to these precautionary measures, we will be fine. There's no need to panic.
Meanwhile, the medical director of the Ghana Infectious Disease Center, Dr. Oliver Kome, says health workers are motivated and ready to respond effectively, provided the necessary tools and resources remain available.
We will keep on doing simulation exercise until we think that we are very perfect. The other thing we also will have to do is to keep on encouraging the health workers here to sacrifice for the nation, because somebody will say, I have a family and Ebola is not like COVID, so why should I go and do Ebola work? But I believe that the average Ghanaian thinks about this nation.
Ebola is a severe and often fatal disease transmitted through direct contact with the bodily fluids of infected persons, making early detection, isolation, and strict infection prevention measures critical in controlling outbreaks.
Some more here, and data from the United Nations Population Fund indicates that between 800 to 1,000 new obstetrics fistula cases are recorded annually in Ghana, with many affected women unable to access treatment due to financial constraints. Despite ongoing surgical repair campaigns, more than 7,000 women are reportedly living with untreated fistula as the country's capacity to manage and repair cases remains limited.
Obstetric fistula is one of the most serious and tragic childbirth injuries. It causes a hole between the birth canal and the bladder. The condition results in the uncontrollable leakage of urine and feces by affected patients. Although the condition can occur through other causes, nearly 95% of fistula cases in Ghana result from prolonged obstructed labor. During a visit to the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital as part of activities marking the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula, Deputy Minister of Health Dr. Grace Ayinsu Dankwa said the government is working towards establishing state-of-the-art obstetric fistula centers of excellence across the country.
We are hopefully soon, once we reach out to UNFPA and Confanochi gives us a land, we will hopefully have a center of excellence for fistula repair so that we can do the procedure with low recurrence and also high cure rates so that our women will not have to suffer with this disease that is very stigmatizing.
Chairperson of the Parliamentary Caucus on Pollution and Development, Patricia Apieji, called for increased investment in maternal health care services.
In order to offer dignity to our women, to our urgent commitment that no woman will be left out, to do a simple surgery that is preventable and at the same time treatable. So it is our commitment to strengthen all these systems and ensure that we do away with obstetrics fistula in the very near future.
UNFPA country representative Dr. Winfred Ukan called on the government, development partners, civil society organizations and other stakeholders to collaborate through sustained funding and public education to eliminate obstetric fistula by 2030.
Some other news here, and an initiative to reduce electricity consumption and operational costs across public institutions nationwide has been introduced. The Public Facility Sustainable Energy Action Plan is expected to save the nation some 2.57 billion Ghana cedis.
The Public Facility Sustainable Energy Action Plan (PFCEP) initiative, introduced by the Energy Commission and partners, aims to promote the adoption of renewable energy and efficiency measures in public buildings, water pumping stations and wastewater treatment facilities. The $182 million program is expected to generate over 2.57 billion Ghana cedis in retained earnings from electricity savings, while supporting the country's green transition agenda. Deputy Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Richard Jan Mensah, noted the initiative will boost the government's 24-hour economy policy.
With the government's broader agenda on industrialization, economic transformation and a 24-hour economy, energy efficiency is critical. The successful implementation of this program will require strong institutional coordination, technical capacity, sustainable financing, and a long-term commitment from all stakeholders. We require effective collaboration among stakeholders, including the ministries, departments, and agencies.
Acting Executive Secretary of the Energy Commission, Adjoa Sewa Bonze, described the initiative as transformational.
This initiative is fully aligned with the mandate of the Energy Commission of Ghana, which is to regulate and promote the efficient utilization of energy resources for national development. As the sector regulator, the Commission remains committed to driving policies and programs that strengthen energy security, improve efficiency, enhance sustainability, and support Ghana's broader economic transformation agenda.
The head of cooperation at the German Embassy, Johanna Klotz, also said the action plan had the potential to save substantial public funds at a time of limited fiscal space.
Stakeholders at a public forum on gender analysis of the 2026 national budget have identified that the budget lacks clear gender-responsive and gender-disaggregated targets across key sectors, weakening transparency and accountability. Findings further identified that gaps persist in agriculture, taxation, and the care economy. Watch this.
In Ghana, where women form more than 50% of the 35.7 million population, more than half under 25, gender equality is not just a moral imperative but an economic necessity. Over 60 participants drawn from key government institutions such as Ministries of Finance, Agriculture, Gender and Women's Rights organizations took part in the discussions. The gender analyst of the 2026 national budget assessed government spending and policy direction across key sectors. The Women's Rights Coalition, NetRight, says Ghana's current budgeting framework does not sufficiently address structural inequalities affecting women, girls, and other marginalized groups. The head of Secretariat at NetRight, Patricia Blankson Akapu, says gaps persist in agriculture, taxation, and the care economy, which it identifies as critical areas for women's economic empowerment.
We realize that, yes, if we are talking about inclusive, gender-responsive budget, it's not an issue of just mentioning women, persons with disabilities, vulnerable groups, and all that. But it's also important that there are specific gender indicators, gender targets that you can use to track where the money goes.
Dr. Nana Ama Opundia, agricultural economist, urged the government to integrate gender disaggregated targets, strengthen care-related investments, and develop a comprehensive national care policy to guide implementation.
It's important to empower women, provide the necessary resources, land, inputs, and credit to them to be able to do what they are doing already better. And with the little resources that they have, they are doing a lot of things. Apart from farming, they are also ensuring that the dietary requirements of their households are met through their produce. And they are also supporting other spaces, even school fees, health insurance, and all of that for their families.
And that's all for News Morning here on New Day on TV3. My name is Beatrice Sedu. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Do continue with us on New Day.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service.
they always make you jump on your feet. Even for
imagine.
people like me who always dance contrary to what the rhythm of the song is. We try to do something.
Oh, but this morning you tried. You were giving us the vibe. It was nice.
So we try to do something because everybody else around you is jamming to the song. So you have no choice than to try to do something.
Yeah.
So I think I remember like a year ago, I particularly had this church member of mine, a lady who approached me and said, "Yeah, the way
Never know me. Oh, sorry, we
talk again, no, talk again. It be problem. It be problem.
Church.
Allah.
Oh no, but that one, I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
She meant no harm. She just noticed something.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't angry. You know, sometimes when you are content with yourself and then you begin to sync with who you are, when people give you feedback, you don't get angry. You know.
Okay, we hear you. So should we try this morning? Just to prove to her
today's
that
a Monday.
you found a way to sync your moves
We're starting the
rhythm?
official week. So we just have to say everybody should be in a very good mood.
Of course.
And, you know, try to be optimistic as many times as you can because, you know, sometimes you tend to do, especially this work, and then many other routine works as well. You're doing it and you don't feel like a Monday morning I want to get up, or you think you're not achieving that goal. You just have to go within yourself and say, I need that energy back. And I think this song also rightly says. So let's say good morning to everybody else who has been watching us. All right. And we're grateful. And your thoughts for always being with us. And let me say good morning to you. Pai Fianku. Pai Fianku. The husband is called Dave. And David.
Oh, Pai is a woman.
Pai Fianku.
Oh, okay.
Pai Fianku works with engineers and plans. She's the finance person.
Oh, it's a woman. Yes. Okay, I always thought.
You know, they are operating the Mine Limited.
I've seen that. So how does she spell her Pai, if I may ask?
Pye.
Nice name.
Yeah.
Nice name.
And then I saw that over the weekend we had 1957 put together the big tracks and all that engineers and planners are having for the Adama Mine Limited. That's a subsidiary for the Jata Group, sending them to the mine site, etc. That's a good thing they're doing for everybody else and for their own stakeholders when it comes to the shareholdership. And so we're grateful.
Yeah.
But how has it been for you?
It's been great. You know, officially we're in the 6th month of the year already.
Yay!
1st of June. So I don't even know how the year flew by so quickly.
But
that means that we're inching closer to the second half of the year. And I do hope that the year has been good for all our viewers as well. If not, I'm so sorry you had to endure some challenges here and there. But it's part of life. And we need to find a way
particularly for me, because we tend to do the socio-economic content all the time. When it's June, each year, and it's been, you know, for several years now, you always think of the media budget. Because by July, you know, you're going to have the finance minister. And back in the day when we had all the difficulty, it means that new taxes will be brought in, or there will be supplementary budgets in addition. But we haven't had that in about a year or two. I think 2 or 3 years
I'm
now.
sure it will come soon.
Yeah, so by July we'll be waiting for. So that's just a month away. So happy new month to everybody else.
Yes, happy
Thanks
new
for the
month.
reminder, though.
And a special happy new month going out to the Ministry of Finance, in particular because you remember about a week or two ago.
The minister.
Well, yes, the minister and everyone who works there, they're supposed to ensure that some rotational nurses and midwives are paid. So the 2023 batch of rotational nurses and midwives who completed, you know, and did their service in 2023, ended in 2024, they still have not received their allowances. And just about 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation with their president and their vice president here in the studios where they decried the delay in allowance payments and the fact that they've had to borrow so much money, rely on other people to take care of them. Now, even after they came here to speak, and even after the number of times that they visited the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health and been assured that they'll receive their monies, they still have not received it. And so they're threatening a demonstration if by the 15th of June 2026, they don't hear anything from the Ministry of Finance in particular. And they're saying that they're hoping that all outstanding rotation NSS allowances for the 2023 referral batch are processed and remitted to their respective human resource departments on or before the 15th of June 2026. Should the deadline pass without concrete action and payment, we shall have no alternative but to embark on a peaceful demonstration and other legitimate industrial actions to press home our demands for what is rightfully ours. And they are even more worried because they say that the 2024 batch have received their full service allowances, while the 2023 batch continues to be neglected. And this disparity is unacceptable and deeply demoralizing. So whoever is in charge of this at the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health that's supposed to ensure that their monies are given to them, please find a way and get it to. It's not easy for all of them.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the problem is a backlog. And once you have it from 2021, I'm told that we have in excess of over, is it 100,000 or something of the sort. So it also means that, well, we're hoping that the Finance Ministry will be able to give the approvals.
Yeah.
And so we'll have it as a Chairman Godwin Tamaklo. Good morning to Chairman Prosper. Great man. And a great friend of mine is celebrating the birthday. So let me just quickly say hello to him. He's been quite great to all of us as friends, and coming from myself, Moses, and the rest of the team. Lieutenant Colonel Martin Knight Jejom Day, who is the officer in charge for military technology at the Army Combat Training School. You're celebrating your birthday, and it's coming for everybody else, including your wife, Essentia, the children as well. They're wishing you all the best. Lieutenant Colonel Martin Jejom Day. Hey, Charlie.
Enjoy your day, sir.
Enjoy your day.
And to everyone else who's celebrating their birthday today or celebrated over the weekend, a belated happy birthday to those of you who celebrated over the weekend, and happy birthday to you today if it is your birthday. God bless you and enlarge you. Yeah.
All right. So we have to talk about all other things. Now, the big question this morning is whether the president will be assenting to that LGBTQ bill. All right. You know, all the things that. So because Alexander Penyomaki Osahin, that's the minority leader, was on his feet, that will be when Parliament was raising the subject matter in the House. And he said that the structure of the bill, by way of the wording and then the imports, is not the same as has been passed by Parliament, as compared to what at the time when we had the former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in office, and then the pressure was coming from Sam George as well as Ntim Fojo and the rest of the teams, as well as civil society organization members who wanted this passed. Now, the question is, the way the wording of the current bill that has been passed is, are we going to have the president assent to it? Big question, because the president already is in the UK having some stakeholders meetings and engagement as well, alongside him attending the CEO summit. Now, what does he also say about the rights of the LGBTQ community? You know, so that's a big discussion we'll be having this morning. And then we're told that transport operators are saying that they intend increasing transport fares by some 20% plus or minus. What are the implications? We'll be discussing that for our big issue segments this morning.
It's going to be a tough one. I mean, I'm looking forward to how the president is going to handle this particular one. Especially because you remember it was passed in Parliament a few years ago when former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was in office, and there was so much pressure on him.
2024.
Yes.
A
couple of years ago, actually. And there was so much pressure on him to sign it. But for some reason, that didn't happen. And I remember how the NDC at that time, when they were in opposition, capitalized on it and said he just didn't want to sign it. In this case, we're told that some changes have been made to the bill that has been passed in Parliament. So they're looking to see if the president will sign. But I saw that MP John Ntim Fojo had tweeted over the weekend, and he said that the main object of the bill is to clamp down on advocacy, promotion, sponsorship, and support for LGBTQ TTAP. There's TTAP. I know the plus. I didn't know there was TTAP. I wonder what those ones stand for. It's a lot. I think they keep adding on at every point, you know. But he says he claims that the NDC has smuggled in last-minute insertion of 8 category exemptions who have been given the free pass to promote, sponsor, engage in, and advocate for and support LGBTQ activities with immunity. Why pass a bill to fortify the real sources of the canker society seeks to eradicate? He says it is another scam by the NDC, and he included parts of the bill and said, check the exemptions from this new bill on the left and the original provisions we presented on the right as well. And so with these exemptions, it says that if you have to treat anyone that suffers anything with regards to the LGBTQ community, you should not be held liable. And also, it says that the publication of an academic, scientific, or medical opinion, you should be exempt from it. The provision of legal advice or legal representation, submissions or representations made to a court, tribunal, parliament, commission of inquiry, or body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial functions. And there are a list of other people who would be exempted if the president should
for
sign.
this as well, including media
personnel, because that was also, you know, the bone of contention for a lot of people. That's so if we talk about it, if it's a news item and we have to talk about it, does it mean that we're going to be picked up and if found guilty, jailed as well?
Yeah.
Which is a question that many of us were asking. So let's see how this goes. And I'm sure Roland will get into all the details for the big issue conversation today. So look forward to it. I hope the fuel prices don't go up though, but it is going up today.
Yeah.
And so that means that transport will go up too.
Well, we have to do this morning segment, and we'll have some comprehensive discussions on what are we doing for this morning segment.
So we're going to a school in the northeast region, and it's a very worrying situation because the Bintiri English and Arabic primary and junior high schools are facing a severe crisis threatening the education of over 2,000 students. Now, we're told that they don't have enough adequate furniture in the classroom. So, unfortunately, a number of the students are either forced to compete for furniture in the classroom, or in some cases, they are forced to stay out of school because they have nowhere to sit. And so we have a report from Solomon Kwame Kanatluwe, and we're going to take a look at it. It's in the East Mampusi municipality in the northeast region. It's the Bintiri English and Arabic schools. It's the only school, we're told, that has been providing education for students in Bintiri and nearby communities. Unfortunately, they lack adequate infrastructure. So let's take a look at that story for this morning. But before that, of course, Roland is going to go through the LGBTQ bill that has been passed in Parliament. So let's have a better understanding of what this new bill entails. Papa Ro.
Just to apprise you of what really some of the contents of the now passed bill, the LGBTQ bill is, as we call it in the public domain, so to speak. But, you know, you look at the major highlights, we have it criminalizing advocacy and promotion of the activities of LGBTQ+, and subsequently also advocacy in support of the rights or activities of those in that category, public encouragement or sustained support for prohibited acts, distribution or publication of related materials in certain contexts, all right? And then also media technology dissemination aimed at children, especially targeting children, young people, trying to, so to speak, in quotes, brainwash them to be part of the community. Now we look at the second set of the restrictions involving children and media. The now passed bill prohibits producing, broadcasting, distributing, or publication of materials directly targeted at children, intended to encourage their interest in prohibited acts as indicated or provided for in the now to be or yet to be assented act. And then we have teach children to explore gender identity outside the male or female binary, because if you look at the bigger context of what the interpretation is, and then also those who are in the community in the countries that have accepted this, you find that they tend to relate various, you know, sexualities to whether they are males or females, or they are others, all right, beyond just transgender and others as well. Now, the other set of the restrictions also include the categories on internet platforms, especially when it comes to social media, electronic devices, and then also when it comes to package movies or films, broadcast media, other technological platforms that also tend to transmit some level of information or data in relation to dissemination. And then the third category is the adoption and foster care restrictions, because currently as it is, the one before the president, or if it's still in parliament, hasn't yet been sent to the presidency. It bars persons identified as LGBTQ plus categories from adopting children, for example, being given the opportunity to be foster parents, that is to adopt, etc., or to be foster parents, guardians, etc. And then also, this list includes lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, plus individuals, all right? Because beyond queer, we have other individuals who tend to do the association, including pansexuals. Bella, you know who's a pansexual? We'll give ourselves, I don't know myself, but we'll give ourselves some education. Non-binary, other identity is also considered contrary to the binary categories of what, you know, by way of the inception of evolution, we know male, female. The fourth is the duty to report offenses. And so, based on those provisions, a person, for example, who knows an offense has been committed under the Act must then, by way of that duty, report it to the police or community authority. Community authorities also receiving reports are enjoined to forward them to the nearest police station, and they have to do that within the duration of 3 days. And it places those responsibilities on individuals, community leaders, traditional authorities, local officials, etc. And so just to make it workable by way of the communication and interpretation, local officials could also mean those who either have been appointed as DCs or maybe assembly members, etc. And we all know traditional leaders, they are usually chiefs, and then also community leaders, among many others. Now, the bill also includes a clause prohibiting verbal abuse, physical assault, harassment, and then extrajudicial treatment. For example, if individuals are identified, which would be the fifth category, to be in that class of categorization, LGBTQ plus. Okay, so just in case you identify them, the current bill that has been passed prohibits anybody in Ghana within our jurisdiction to just say that, look, I'm mobbing, or I want to also undertake some actions against physically abusing, and then also trying to mob individuals that are perceived, or you think, or perhaps publicly also unknown to be. All right, quite interesting. And the question today we're asking is, will the president then assent to it? All right. So, but we have to also put together a content on Bintri and Bella.
Yes, indeed. And so we're crossing over now. We'll take a look at that story that's been put together by our colleague Solomon. He's on standby. He'll speak to us shortly. But take a look at how pupils in the Bintri school in the Northeast region are struggling to stay in school, especially because they don't have enough infrastructure to help them make learning easier. Take a look.
For years, the Bintri English and Arabic schools in the East Mamprusi municipality in the Northeast region have been the only hope for education for students of Bintri and nearby communities. Today, that hope is fading as the population in the area keep increasing. As I walk into the classrooms of Bintri EA Primary School, I was met with an unpleasant scene. In a room packed with more than 50 students, I counted 5 desks, all of which are broken. Most pupils are forced to sit on bare floor, while others crowd around the few remaining pieces of broken furniture, trying to find a stable surface for their books.
Our biggest challenge in Bintri Primary School is the classroom, and at the same time the desks. Though we have the total population of 1,046. Out of that, we only have 3 unit classroom blocks, and they are even duplicated. Basic 6 as well, we have the total number 147 students. And then basic 5 is 151. Out of that, the furniture we have in those classes, they are not up to the number of the students. The majority of them are seated on the floor. And basic 3 and 4 too, the same thing. Because basic 4 will have 137. Out of it, we only have about 10 draw decks, which 147 students will use, 37 students will use. And then basic 3 2, we have only 3 draw decks, and out of it 125 students are using it. Majority of them are using on the floor.
The situation is even more worrying at the junior high level.
It will give what? Not zero. Not zero. Yes. So 1 times 1 is what? 1. Numerators first multiply the what? The numerators. Now, if you are going to multiply.
During my visit, I observed a teacher struggling to maintain control of his lesson. Due to the intense overcrowding, the room was extremely hot. I watched as nearly half of the students were forced to use their books as makeshift fans, attempting to find relief from the heat. The headmaster of the school expressed deep frustration, noting the lack of furniture is affecting the quality of education.
A lot of letters have been written to the GS office as well as the district assembly, but they promised us and finally they failed. So when we go, they will promise that, oh, they will look into it, they will look into it. Finally, it will end up by nothing.
Teachers are equally suffering the disadvantage.
Inside the class, teacher found it difficult to even move because the children are overpopulated and they are even sitting a chair, 3-4 people, a chair. How can they learn?
Sometimes when you conduct an exercise, how to mark the exercise becomes the problem. Because the number of people in class can contain, like, let's say 150, 153, one class. So when you give an exercise, there are a lot of students, they will not even take part of the exercise. But because of the number, you find it difficult to identify those who those who did the exercise and those who couldn't take part of the exercise.
A report by Solomon Kwame Kanalue, TV3 News, Northeast Region.
Stories like these are very devastating. I mean, when 2026, other parts of the world, they've migrated onto technology, coding, all of that. And in 2026, we're even struggling to provide infrastructure for our pupils in these communities. It's heartbreaking. But Solomon joins us on Zoom to throw more light on this matter. Solomon, good morning. Hello, Solomon. You might have to unmute yourself if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. I can hear you now. Good morning. And thank you so much for this story that you've brought to light. I mean, how long has it been since they've been trying to reach the GES and the Municipal Assembly to correct this anomaly, if I may say, in this community?
All right, so according to the headmaster of the school, this has been for a very long time. He actually estimated more than 10 years that they have been following the GES to resolve these challenges, because according to him, that has been the only school in the community of which several communities are relying on. And so to him, it has been there for so long, because he said he even took over from someone, and then the person who was living shared with him the same challenges. So this indicates that this issue has been for a long time.
Now, if that's the case, why has the GES not come to their rescue? What is the GES saying, and what's the Municipal Assembly also saying as well? Were you able to reach out to any of them?
Sure. When I visited Bintiri, and then what I reported, I first got in touch with the regional education director, and I asked him if he's really aware of what is happening. He said I should contact the municipal education director, of which I did so, and he told me he's yet to visit the school and confirm. So 3 days ago, he himself called me and said it is true. He has actually visited the school and he has been giving details about that. Honestly, I didn't ask him if this is just the first time he is hearing the issue about the school's challenges. I didn't ask him that, but then he told me that this is a challenge within the whole Northeast region. He told me that there are other schools in some other remote communities that are facing the same challenges as that of Bentiri. But what he told me was that the assembly is working together with the GES to get furniture to support some of these schools, of which Bentiri A Primary School is part. So he assured me that they are going to carry it up.
Okay. The person who assured you is the regional director, or who exactly?
Yes, that's the municipal education director.
Okay.
Yes, he confirmed to me it's a challenge that the region is facing, and then the regional director also confirmed to me that it's a challenge that the region is currently facing.
Okay, we have the regional director on phone with us. He's Simon Amokase from the Northeast region. So he's the Northeast Regional Director of Education. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right. Do you have any updates for us this morning? Because this is an emergency, and we need to fix it as soon as possible.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. It is furniture is a major challenge to schools in the Northeast region. So I will say there are three issues that is affecting us seriously in the region as educators. Furniture is a challenge, classroom space is a challenge, and the teacher shortage is also a challenge.
Sorry, I didn't quite get you. You said furniture is a challenge. I didn't get the other 2 points.
I said furniture is a challenge. Classroom space is a challenge. And teacher disability is also a challenge.
Okay.
And in terms of furniture, because we are a new region, we have so many of the schools across the entire region, especially the rural communities. You will go there at about 5 or 3 villages with only one school, and the crowding is getting too serious for us. So we need more classroom space. Then we need furniture to be able to give quality education delivery to our people. The regional director with the regional minister have had several engagements on how to make things right. But I think the GET fund is come to our aid in so many areas to begin to provide infrastructure and furniture.
When?
Oh, they have just started. They came to me to ask for data on some of the issues, which we provided.
They came to you to ask what the issues were. Are they not aware already? Do they have to come to you to... I'm saying that you're saying they came to you to ask. Are they not aware? Because per what correspondent is saying, this issue has been persistent for the last 10 years.
Yes.
So should we not graduate to the next level, asking questions? We've done that, I'm sure, a number of times. The question then is, how soon are they bringing the furniture? And you should be impressing upon them to make this happen. What's the update on that?
Well, we keep pushing, but I cannot tell for sure, but they are promised to come to our aid.
But did you ask for timelines?
Management is in touch with me all the time, and we're discussing this, and they're working on it.
Okay.
But the timeline, I cannot tell.
Sir, if I may ask, how long have you been in this position?
About 4 years.
4 years? And
yes.
You've been aware of this situation for how long?
Oh, it's been there before I even got there. But we are, no, they are multifaceted.
So are you saying that in 4 years, you've still not been able to convince or at least get the GES from the national level to sort this problem out? If you've not been able to do that in 4 years, what's the guarantee that we can get this done in the next few months, next few weeks?
As I said, the government is doing its best. The government has come to aid in a number of cases in other communities. They are fixing the problems. But sometimes I want to believe it is the resource constraint is the issue. But the government is doing its best to help us fix some of the issues.
Okay. They said there's a restraint on resources.
Yes. The resource constraint is the major challenge. But the government is doing its best for us.
Beyond.
We are praying for more support from other agencies.
Okay. I was going to ask that beyond government coming in to support, as a regional director, have you been able to reach out to some NGOs, you know, some institutions to see if they can come to the aid of these children in the meantime?
Yes, we have some NGOs coming to our support. I can talk of Children Belief. They're in the region for some time now, providing us with a classroom space and furniture. We have advocates and other NGOs that are in our region helping us in one way or the other.
This is disappointing, if I may say. But what's the situation with the teachers? Because clearly, if you listen to them, they're also complaining. I can just imagine how many of them would not want to stay in such a situation to teach the students.
We are trying to manage the situation, but I think we can also just throw our hands in the space and say, no, don't come to school. We are managing it with government agencies. And I know with time, we overcome all of these challenges and have the desired result that we all want.
Okay. But what I'm asking is, these teachers that we're seeing, how many of them have probably even left the school because, or the community because they cannot keep up with these challenges?
Oh, that is another major issue. Many teachers that are sent to some here in the communities, they come out a year or two, they leave because of lack of facilities for them. So it can be frustrating to be in a school like this. So many of them, they come after a year or two, they think that they have said enough, so they want to fix transfer to other areas. And that is one of our issues we are struggling with the schools at the basic level.
Now, we're told that these children, for a large number of them, have refused to come to school because there's not enough space in the classrooms. And again, they don't have the furniture to even sit on. So how are we addressing this matter as well? Is there some community engagement to encourage the parents, if they can, even though I doubt they can at this point, to support one way or the other, just to keep their children in school?
Yeah, just last week also, we had a meeting with the RCC, and they were looking for areas with our schools, or areas with schools without proper classroom structures, or areas with a limited number of classroom space. So we were able to provide the data, and Minister has promised to kickstart some activity to be able to contain this situation.
Okay.
So we are praying in a couple of months or a year to come, all this may be a thing of the past.
Okay. Mr. Simon, if I may ask, do you have any of your children attending any of these schools in the community?
No, please.
If they were in such schools, would you not move faster to ensure that the problem is fixed?
That's what we are doing our best to fix the situation. We are working hard towards how these things can be fixed.
You'd like to do what, sir?
I didn't hear that, please.
I didn't get what you said. That's why I'm asking if you could kindly repeat yourself.
So as I said earlier on, these are challenges that we are confronted with, and we are working hard to see how these things can be resolved.
But, sir, that's not good enough. That's why I'm asking. If your children were in these schools, you've been in this position for 4 years. If your children were in this school, or any of these schools that lack the infrastructure, and they were sitting on the floor, fanning themselves with their books, would you not move faster to ensure that they are provided the infrastructure and all the things they need so they can have a better education?
Indeed, yes. We are education implementers. As I said, there's such schools are so many that you cannot just take 1 year or two to address them. We have addressed similar challenges in other areas, in other communities. And they happen to be one of the issues that is yet to be addressed. So it doesn't mean that we're sitting and doing nothing, but we're working towards their resolution. As I said, because of financial constraints or resource constraints, you can't do all at once. We are doing them as and when we get enablement. And as I said, this is one of the areas that's been highlighted. And then we'll put things together to see how it can be resolved quickly.
We hope that quickly means in the next few days, because it's very heartbreaking that we see children going through it. And at the end of the day, they're expected to write BEC with students in the bigger cities who have better infrastructure, who have the teachers on rotation constantly because maybe they are paid well, and of course they have all the tools to teach the kids. And we expect these students to also have good results so they can go to the good schools as well. So I believe that this has to be addressed as soon as possible. So you've given us some assurance. I wanted to see if I could get some timelines from you. I don't know if you can give us those timelines.
As I said, I cannot give timeline.
Okay.
I have to work with my regional minister and other stakeholders to see how these issues can be resolved. But this type of schools are many in the region. They're not just only that school alone, but there are many.
And that's the problem. We shouldn't even have this situation.
Yes.
That's the problem.
As I said, the government over the years have done their part, they have done their best, but
no, they haven't,
sir. In the face of resource constraints, you can't do all at once.
Sir, we failed our students.
So we are addressing them one after the other. And we know with time, all of these will be resolved. And they will have smooth education delivery in the region.
Do you admit that we failed our students and the young people in this country? Because if you say that the governments over the years have done their part, clearly if you look at this school, you can tell that not much has been done over the years, 10 good years. So it means that it even transcends one government or the other. And so this should be an emergency. And we hope that, like you said, you're going to reach out to, you're going to reach out to the national office and ensure that this is done. We'll come back and get some more updates on this, and we hope that something can be done about it as soon as possible. Not only for the Bintiri school, but for the other schools in the community as well. So we'll get in touch with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well noted.
Solomon.
Yes, I'm with you.
So what's the next step? I mean, I'm sure you interacted with the teachers. What are they saying? Because there's a likelihood that they may not want to stay in the school if this problem is not resolved. Are they given timelines as to when they expect this to be resolved as soon as possible?
Yeah, sure. Even it was somebody who actually hinted me about the issue, and the person was a former teacher. He told me that was the reason he has to leave the Bintiri school and then to a different school. And so for the teachers, they share the trauma they go through, and listening to the teachers, we feel that truly, to some point, they said that when they are teaching and then they look at what, like the impact and even the attention from the students, they felt very bad, because it's more or less like when you are talking to somebody whose attention wasn't with you, you yourself at a point, you feel like you are not doing your best. And so the teachers, they share the trauma, and listening to them, I believe they wouldn't want to stay there any longer. Though they didn't give me the time frame they wish to stay there, but listening to them, in fact, I actually sympathize with them.
Well, we do hope that something is done about this situation. So at the moment, how many teachers do they have in the school?
All right, so the headmaster told me they have 7 teachers.
7
in
teachers?
The school currently.
As against how many students?
Yes. So, as he mentioned, over 1,000 students. In a class that contains about 150 or 125 students, and then a teacher handling that class.
All right.
And then what baffled me was that when you look at the school, the structure itself, you could see a crowd, a crack on the wall. So which means that now that we are in the rainy season, no one can tell what happens. The structure itself, in fact, is not advisable for students to use it during this particular season. And then when you look at the floor surface, it's very dusty. And so when actually I saw some of the students, it was a Monday. And when you look at their uniforms, as if maybe they went to the farm or somewhere. Because you can see that because it sits on the ground and it has potholes, it's also dusty. And so when you look at the health implications of, it's not advisable for them to be in that environment. In fact, I felt it when some of the teachers even share with me that, you know, students, some of them do release bad air. And so sometimes when he's teaching and then a student release bad air, you see the colleagues shouting and they will have to pause lessons. And everyone will have to leave the class and then return back. This is, in fact, affecting education in the school day.
I see. Well, we hope that you'd stay on their necks and get this fixed as soon as possible. He says he cannot give us timelines, but you've done a great job in even bringing this to light. And we do hope that the right authorities are watching, or some way, somehow, this will get to them and they can fix not just the Gbintiri school, but the many schools dotted across the country that require support urgently. And so thank you so much, Solomon, for speaking to us this morning. All right. So a few comments coming in as well. Philip Lanyo, he's watching on Facebook and he says that the problems are many here in the Savannah region, precisely Saula, Tuna, Kalba district. If you can, maybe you should send us some photos as well. Let's take a look at that. Bless Fire says someone in authority should sack these lump sum directors in this sector and get us a job to do it right. He has no sustainable plan in place. They are just taking salaries and they care less about how impactful their roles are. It's failure of regulatory institutions in Ghana. Joshua Yaotri says, Bella Pine, if he doesn't have the money or resources, do you expect him to magically solve it? It's heartbreaking, but these are the challenges. And we keep making excuses for these people in office, which is why they're very comfortable staying in office, taking salary, and not doing much. Like I said, for a lot of these people, if their kids attend some of these schools, or if they directly have to deal with some of these problems, then I'm sure that they will move quickly to fix it. And so nobody is asking him to use his personal funds to fix this, but he's a director for the region. We're hoping that he can use his authority and his influence to get some help to these schools as well. Nasty, thank you very much, says very nice questions being posed to the regional director. Neodate Mills says that Yehowa in Finland, a teacher is not supposed to have over 30 students except in the university. Well, in this case, we're told that we have some classes that have as many as 135, 137 students to one teacher. And the entire school has only 7 teachers as against over 1,000 pupils. And so that is also very worrying as well. Don Shamsu says it is very sad to see. Okay. Ablade wants to speak on the LGBTQ matter. Ablade Fiekuma says that this LGBTQ plus bill passed, Parliament has done well. Greetings to the... Okay, well, we'll move on from your greetings. Says that... let me see. Good morning to everyone across the motherland. This is from Gershon Jakpasu. Okay, the problems are many. I've read that already. And Kobe says, this man is not doing anything in that region. You've been in office for 4 years and you're still here saying all of this. Some of these people just dress up, go and sit in offices and do nothing. Good morning to Pian, who says good questions as well. And good morning to Robert Kuzo from MTN watching this morning. You say I'm right. Absolutely. It gets very worrying when we have to constantly talk about these matters. And I say that we sound like broken records on the show every morning because it's the same problems that we regurgitate every morning and nothing seems to be done about them. We hope that this time around, at least for Gbintiri in particular, we'll get some results. Awudu again says that Saula Tuna Kalbatu has these problems. It's very, very sad to see. Coco is talking about illegal mining. Says that the situation of illegal mining is worse in Ashanti region. That's not what we're discussing, by the way, but we hope that that also can be resolved. And it's one of the issues that the president touched on yesterday when he addressed some Ghanaian citizens in the United Kingdom during the town hall meeting. And we're told that today he's expected to pay a visit to King Charles and also sit with some of the leaders in the UK as well. And so we're looking forward to that. There's also the Ghana-UK Investment Summit that will be happening, which is why he's there. And there's a CEO Summit as well. So I'm sure you'll get all the updates on this matter as we move along. And of course, TV3 will keep you apprised on these issues. Also, Master Planner Junior Kintampo says that this regional director needs to be sacked. He has no plans, and he speaks like a politician, not a director. Well, let's see what he can get done in the meantime before we call for his sacking. But yes, he needs to be up to speed with regards to what is being done and how it's being done. Don Shamsu says the same situation is happening in the OT region. It's very sad when you see our brothers. Okay, well, this is what we discussed for this morning, but we have a bigger conversation coming up on the big issue with Papa Rowe. We're taking a look at the LGBTQ plus bill that has been passed by Parliament. We're expecting that the President will assent to it when he gets back from the United Kingdom. Honorable Sam George is one of the people who says he's very sure, he's optimistic that the President will assent to the bill. But in its current form, is that what we expect? Let's see how that goes. So Papa Rowe will be discussing that. We're also told that fuel prices are going to go up this morning at the various pumps. In fact, we're going to be paying some in excess of 15 Ghana cedis per litre for petrol from what we're hearing. And as a result, we're also told that it's likely that transport fares will go up because the transport operators are threatening to increase transport fares as well. When does this all stop? We're told that, it's because of what's happening on the international markets as well. And so we'll get into that conversation. And then after that, of course, you've seen that promo. If you haven't seen it already, we have the Ghana's Most Beautiful Ball happening this weekend. It's going to be a big one. It's 20 years of Ghana's Most Beautiful. And so we're coming your way with a legacy project ensuring that beyond just crowning our queens, which we've done over the last 20 or 19 years, we've also given them the opportunity to impact society in one way or the other. All that is culminating into what we're celebrating this weekend and also opening it up for everyone else to be part of our legacy ball where we intend to impact society even more. And so we'll have that conversation and give you some more details as to what to expect and how you can be part of it. And hopefully we'll have one of our past queens joining us. Nostalgia. Look forward to that conversation. But perk up your day the Milky Way with the rich, smooth taste of Perk Milk Shortcake. It is pure delight. This is TV3 Newday. When we get back, the big issue takes over.
Well, thank you for joining us once again. We hope that you did enjoy that segment, this morning segment, where we highlighted on the school activity. And what we do as media is to make sure that we also create the needed level playing field and the opportunities for those who are vulnerable in our society, don't have access, and are also given some level of access. And this time, education is very important. And we'll try to do that as many times as we can. And so we will always be doing that. Let me say good morning to a couple of you. It's always important that as you join us, we also look at the issues adequately. A good friend of mine is celebrating the birthday, Lieutenant Colonel Martin Day. And this one is coming from your wife, Essential, as well as your friends, Moses, and the rest of the team. Lieutenant Colonel Martin Knight Day is the officer in charge for military technology at the Ghana Armed Forces Army Combat Training School. Happy birthday to you, and wishing you all the best for the day. But for those who have joined us across social media, we're grateful that you've joined us. Very important. And I see Money, the rest of the team who always watch us. We're grateful. Today we're here also to talk about very important issues. And I know that there's got a lot of traction, especially on Saturday morning. The question that has arisen over the last 12 hours is on the subject of the past bill, LGBTQ, is whether the president will assent to it, the structure and form the way it is. Because the minority led by Osahin Apenyomakin, the minority leader, have not been happy about what they term the hypocrisy and the double standards being exhibited, or that has been exhibited by not only government but also the majority side. Because if you flip the coin, there was an earlier one in the last parliament, and that also was passed, but because of actions in courts, for which we even had communication from the presidency, it didn't travel from parliament to the presidency for the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to assent to it or not. Will the president do the needful on this one this time around? But again, what are the concerns of the minority? I have here with me one person who was a key person of the parliament and a former member of parliament for 2nd, former deputy energy minister, is also a legal practitioner, very experienced one at that. Ejapa Mensah. Lawyer Ejapa Mensah, how are you?
Well, good morning.
Great, good to see you. And then I also have Director Legal of the NDC as well, also doubles as the CEO for the National Petroleum Authority. Lawyer Eduji Tamaklo is also a good morning to you, lawyer.
Good morning, and good morning to my learned senior, and good morning to the trade unionists.
And the trade unionists he was referring to is the vice president of the UTAC chapter of the University of Education, Winneba, who is a regular on the show every Monday, Dr. Bernard Tutubuahin. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Papa Ro. Good morning, senior lawyers.
And talking about unions, when we have the time towards the latter part of the show, the unions in the transport sector, they reared their heads once again. They intend imposing an increment when it comes to transport fares because of a likely, an increment in fuel at the pumps by some 20%. So we'll take a look at that, certainly. At least we'll have some 20 minutes to deal with that adequately, especially now that we have the MPA Chief Executive here. And then the former Deputy Energy Minister, they'll have a go at it, and we'll see where we can have a level ground. But this is what Osahin Apenyomakin, and then also his counterpart, who is the majority leader, Ayariga, had by way of a banter or exchanges in Parliament. Let's give you a recall.
Mr. Speaker, I am submitting that the bill that the sponsors have proposed with this so-called amendment by the committee, Mr. Speaker, our friends who are in government today oppose every amendment
Honorable Minority
in the
Leader.
8th Parliament.
Honorable Minority Leader.
They want to pass a bill.
Honorable Minority Leader, you cannot refer to a proposed amendment from a committee of this House as so-called.
Mr. Speaker,
you
for
know
want
that
of
is
a
not
better word,
proper.
Mr. Speaker, anytime I talk, you interrupt. Even when the majority leader gets it wrong,
if you use a
don't
language
interrupt
that
it.
is not proper, I will have to draw your attention to
Mr.
it.
Speaker, the majority leader used
I
lawlessness
will continue
against his
to draw
colleague.
your
You never
attention to
interrupted.
it. You cannot refer to a proposed amendment emanating from a
Mr.
committee
Speaker,
of this
the
House
proposed
as
amendment,
so-called.
Mr. Speaker, that's fine. I take guidance from you. That's fine. Mr. Speaker, I disagree with the attempt by the committee of this House to use amendment to water down the very bill that our friends, when they were in opposition, pushed it on the country. Mr. Speaker, that was their argument. And where is the principle? Mr. Speaker, where is your principle? They sponsored the bill. May I finish? You see, Mr. Speaker, the majority leader is not a Democrat. Sit down. I listen to you in silence. So you sit down. Mr. Speaker, when they were in opposition, they sponsored the bill. They resisted every single amendment. Mr. Speaker, today, they are now saying that through a committee, they are amending, Mr. Speaker, the clause 9, the very amendment they rejected in opposition. Today that they are in government, they are claiming that this is the bill they want. Mr. Speaker, they are virtually rendering the very thing they propose odious.
Mr. Speaker, I am surprised that the members on the NPP side who are calling for immediate, who were pushing that this bill must be passed, today are doing everything possible to frustrate the passing of this bill. Mr. Speaker, the committee is a committee of this House. The committee is a committee of this House. In fact, in your absence, a member of the committee who belongs to your side got up and supported the proposals. He had just a few exceptions. He got up here and then supported the amendments. He said the amendments make sense. He supports it because the amendment is seeking to protect the freedom of lawyers to provide legal representation and the right of accused persons to get legal representation. The freedom of media houses to practice and report. The freedom of doctors to provide medical services irrespective of the circumstances under which you needed the medical services. Those are the clauses that we are discussing. So when you run into the chamber, you can argue, you can look at the clauses. If you have opposition, some of us have had opposition to some of the clauses. We've moved for deletion and it's been deleted. But this your attitude of coming in and shouting left and right as if we're engaged in a shouting match doesn't help. Doesn't help. Nobody in this country will be deceived. As for the last election, you lost it. You cannot cure your loss of the last election by any kind of gimmicks in this chamber. It will not help. You had an excellent opportunity. We proposed the bill. Reverend Ntim Forger and co, your members, joined and sponsored the bill. And when we debated the bill, nobody in this house, was the leader of the house. Nobody in this house under your leadership opposed it.
But the subject matter, especially if you gauge public opinion over the last 12 hours, really is not about who brought a bill before, etc. The crux or the thrust of the argument really is that, well, if you were for that bill before the last elections and subsequently we had all the actions that the president took notice of at the time, and so, well, we didn't get to the conclusion. Why is it that when it comes to in total, you don't get the same wording, word by word, by way of the bill passed? Because that's a key issue. So we'll get to that. Because these are the exemptions. We'll put them on the screens for you. And then also we'll come back, and then particularly when we have an experienced member of parliament lawyer who was then raising key issues at the time, really have they been vindicated at all? Because the proposed exemptions or amendment also create exceptions for legal representation, court submissions, academics, and then also scientific and medical publications as well, health-related programs, counseling and medical services, and then subsequently also create exceptions for publications in the media. So if you're a content creator, you're a mainstream journalist, so to speak, and well, you talk about it now, we're told that these are the reasons, and so the exemptions are there. And then also for HIV/AIDS prevention and care. And the exemptions, based on the argument, so-called, are supposed to protect lawyers in the course of their work, including, of course, journalists, doctors, researchers, public health agencies, from some level of liability when it comes to what the law does indicate. And then there are also revisions and definitions. If you juxtapose or compare the previous bill that was passed in relation to descriptions on marriage, intersex, non-binary, romantic relations, family values, among many others. And it doesn't sit well for many people who think that, well, there's some level of hypocrisy, double standards being exhibited by the now majority side of parliament, who were in the minority at the time in government, so to speak. And Lawyer Japa, what do you say to that? Because, I mean, you raised these same issues, and at the time you said, be watchful. Otherwise, the future and matters of the future will come back to haunt you. Andrew Japa Mesa.
Let me, before I even begin, extend my greetings to our cherished viewers, especially those watching us from Second D. This morning on my way, I spoke to my mom, so I know she will tune in and watch. You see, how we behave as a people, as politicians, is really baffling sometimes. Because as far as I'm concerned, in spite of the procedural issues that we had in 2024, when this bill was passed, I strongly believe that it was even proper for His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, not to sign this bill. Because it was a lame duck president. And the bill certainly will have implications. And so it was useful for a new president coming in to be the one who takes a decision whether to sign it or not.
A new president coming?
Yes.
Whether NDC or MPP?
Regardless. Because I recall the fair wages when President Kufuor did the single spine salary thing on his way out. The NDC came in and complained that they had been saddled with all this obligation and liability by the previous government. In the same vein, my own thoughts were that it was good that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo didn't sign the bill. In principle, we are all agreeable that our sexual values, our traditional values, ought to be protected. The reason why the bill in 2024 passed unanimously, there was no objection by the MPP side, then majority, to the passage of this bill. In fact, the sponsors of the bill included people from the MPP side. So there is unanimity amongst the entirety of, or the generality of the Ghanaian public.
As representatives of the people.
Absolutely. That we needed some tightening of our existing legislation when it came to LGBTQ plus issues. Because we all agree that it's abhorrent. We do not have to encourage same-sex relationships in our society. So, of course, it became a campaign issue, right? And our friends, the NDC, promised that when they were given the opportunity to come into office, His Excellency the President was going to sign the bill. So the expectation was that immediately he comes in, those were one of the first things that he was going to undertake. Alas, we didn't see that. We've lived 18 or so or 17 months down the line. Now, we see some traction. My question really is this, that will this watered down legislation that is being proposed or has been passed today, will it cure the mischief that we as a society sought to prevent with the passage of the old act? Okay, if it will, fine. But clearly, the deception, okay, the hypocrisy with respect to the passage of this law is what beats my mind. If the bill that was passed in 2024 was good enough for the purpose for which it was passed, why are we changing it today?
I don't understand.
But of course, the expectation would have been that the 2024 bill would have been submitted to Parliament, gone through the motions, and the same text is what then is passed.
You mean wholesomely?
Wholesome. Because we had already done all the work. Parliament had done the work. They had passed the bill into law. It was only left for the signature of the president. Because of the legal and procedural issues. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo didn't sign that bill into law. Why are we now changing the text today? Why?
Why is that important? Because according to the majority leader, there'd been more advocacy, more engagement.
Those advocacy was not done in 2024. Recall that bill itself was introduced in Parliament in 2021. I was a member of the committee. We did all the stakeholder engagements, all the representations that people had to make were made. Several memoranda in excess of 200 was submitted to the committee. We did thorough work. We needed a law that would bite, that would seek to prevent the encouragement of this sexual activities that we all abhor from ever coming into our shores. So if you now today, believing in the same principle in 2024, turn around and introduce material into the law that seeks to defeat the purpose that the bill itself sought to achieve in the first place, what have you done? What have you done? But is it the case that we want a law that would prevent the introduction of LGBTQ++ into our country? Or that because we promised that when we come, we will pass an LGBTQ+ law, we are only passing it for the sake of it without believing that indeed and in fact, the mischief that we sought to cure will be cured by this law?
Do you think
that's what I'm seeing.
Do you think that's what
that's exactly what the NDC are doing?
That's why you use the word watered down.
Yes, completely. I ask myself, how do you even legislate right to legal representation? It's a matter of course, a constitutional right. How are you going to prevent academic freedom? It's enshrined in law already. So to now turn around and say that, well, the law that we passed sought to prohibit people from having right to legal representation, and so we are now introducing that as an exception. I don't get it. But I'm only hoping and praying that the civil society organizations, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Christian Council of Ghana, those and of course the National House of Chiefs, those who championed the passage of this bill, which we all agreed ought to be passed, when the final text comes out, we would interrogate it to determine whether indeed and in fact we have been given what we asked for or we've been shortchanged by this government. Because that's what I see. That this government is only seeking to shortchange the people of Ghana by the passage of this watered down legislation purely for political purposes. And that they do not really believe that human sexual rights the traditional sexual rights that we know between man and woman ought to be protected in Ghana.
So your conclusion is that the NDC and the government of John Dramani Mahama just decided to hoodwink Ghanaians?
Absolutely.
And previously they just used it for campaign purposes?
Otherwise, they should pass the text that was passed in 2024 that they championed Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to sign.
Do you think, if, let's say, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had won the election, and then there were amendments, would your position have been the same?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
That it should be passed wholesomely?
Wholesome. It should be passed wholesome, because otherwise, we would not achieve the objective that we set out to protect as a country. And this act that has been passed really serves no purpose whatsoever. Indeed, and in fact, not passing a crowd would make a lot of sense. Because they haven't done anything. All they've done is to pass the LGBT class act. In name only. No effect. It does nothing. So they're just throwing it out to Ghanaians. Although we've met our campaign promise. But in substance, what they have passed completely defeats the purpose for which the law itself was introduced in the first place. And it's sad that we do this to ourselves.
Let me ask you a last question.
Yeah, sure.
Don't you think, because the bill that was passed previously in the parliament in which you were well represented was not adequate enough, did not give proper representation and then exceptions? That's why we had all those legal grievances, concerns, and then even the cases in court, just to make sure Parliament or the President did not assent to it. And so this one should make it better.
I don't think so at all. I don't think so. The Parliament, 8th Parliament.
Because like I remember Richard Sky, the lawyer and journalist.
Yes.
Also.
No, I don't have any difficulty. But who says people are not going to challenge this law necessarily? We cannot speculate. But I'm saying that the 8th Parliament did a lot of engagement. They did a lot of consultation. They considered several papers that have been written by interest groups before making their recommendation to Parliament. And the law that was passed in 2024 was a good law. Certainly, you would have people who object to every legislation that is passed. But I'm saying that to the extent that both the majority and the minority agreed that the text of the 2024 bill was good enough for the purpose for which we had set out to pass the law in the first place, that text shouldn't change today. To make it look as if to say we are introducing new things that would benefit Ghanaians, when indeed and in fact, the introductions that we've made really defeats the law in its entirety. But like I said, I'm waiting for the text, okay, that will be signed by His Excellency the President into law. Then we can do a context analysis to see whether indeed and in fact they've drawn Ghanaians the short end of the stick, or that they've really sought to meet the commitments that they made, that this LGBTQ thing is never going to be acceptable in our country.
It's just a fact.
I don't think that that's it.
Okay, so hypocrisy, double standards, deception, watered down, director legal. They said that's what you, the party, and your party in government did.
Okay, so once again, I want to
hoodwink.
I want to say
deception.
I want to say good morning to my Leonard Senior and the trade unionist who is here, and also wish my Leonard Senior, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Rimsai, Deputy AG, a happy birthday today. I think that's said. Double standards, hypocrisy, deception. None of that applies to the NDC.
Why not?
This morning, my senior is behaving like how we used to behave after writing law exams, when we begin to remember the cases after the exams. You know.
You mean during the exams you forget?
During the exams you forget. And
the citations?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It was held in a decided case.
Yes. So Prof. Kumado, those days I remember said, look, one of the ways to go around in a decided case, it was said this without references.
Yes.
And Lord Dennis said this without giving the specific case where Lord Dennis said. This morning, that's what I've seen my Leonard Senior doing. Look, you see, Ghanaians had the benefit of giving you a mandate for 8 solid years. And not only a mandate, but also gave you at least a good enough majority in parliament to be able to carry out your business. You had the opportunity to build consensus, to, as it were, pass very useful legislation. In fact, this particular legislation is one that was bipartisan support. It had a bipartisan support. But what did we see? We had a president who deliberately decided that he was never going to assent to the family value bill. In fact, that deliberation on the part of former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo would remain a blot on the conscience of the MP.
No, but he never said.
Please. It will remain a blot on the conscience of the MPP for many years to come. That singular decision by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ostracized, completely isolated traditional authority, Christian authority, Muslim authority from the MPP support. And that you cannot wish it away this morning by describing whatever happened in the past as being deception.
Oh, but there were cases in court, and then they decided to take notice of them. And those were in statement from the executive secretary of the president.
Listen carefully. He had practiced, and we have all witnessed, constitutional democracy for 32 years. Never has the secretary to the president ever, in a very arrogant manner, written to the clerk of parliament a cease and desist letter that was completely unfortunate and ought to have been condemned. What was the basis of the cease and desist? You and I, as lawyers, do appreciate that we only write a cease and desist letter in exceptional circumstances. What was the basis for the cease and desist letter by Nana Santi-Bediutu? It was uncalled for, arrogantly written, and completely condescending. That is how you saw governance. What was the basis? Look, and that is the learning we have received. The received learning we have is Article 106. Clause 8 of the 1992 Constitution. This is what it says. That where the president refuses to assent to a bill, he shall, within 14 days after the refusal, state in a memorandum to the Speaker any specific provisions of the bill, which in his opinion should be reconsidered by Parliament, including his recommendations for amendment, if any. There is a constitutional pathway where a bill has been passed and the president has cause to say that I will not assent. The Constitution itself envisaged a situation where these things will happen and provided a pathway. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo refused.
What has that got to do with anything?
Please, respect.
We're talking of the law that you've passed today.
Decided.
The one that was passed in 2024. Today. What has that got to do with anything?
Decided in the full glare of these express constitutional provisions that you will not comply with this constitution.
What has it got to do with anything?
And decided that instead of this...
didn't sign. Yes. You promised to sign it.
This morning.
We are speaking of the law that you passed.
When you were talking...
That's not sick. Well, with the one that was passed in 2024, you're talking about we lost an election. What has that got to do with anything?
When you were talking, I was making
please, let him, so that you make your point.
When the opportunity came, the Constitution prescribed what you should do. Send a memo. Reconsider Parliament. But what did Akufo-Addo do? He decided to write a cease and desist letter to the clerk of Parliament. That was what he did.
Shadrach, do you have the former executive secretary's letter so that I ask Didier a question on the subject? Because according to Message, it doesn't matter.
And you see,
director legal.
You know something? What was their claim? They said there was a pending lawsuit.
Doesn't matter.
Please, Senior.
He said it doesn't matter.
Senior, your intervention this morning. you and I had a good week.
I'm surprised at you.
and I
focus on the issue.
Please allow him to
speak. You see, even out of disrespect to Ejapa, who was part of the MPs who passed the law, the clerk, in fact, the secretary to the president had the effrontery to write to a constitutional office holder, the clerk of parliament, a cease and desist letter. What was the basis for it? And guess what? Roland? President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assented to the e-levy law at the time when there was a pending judicial proceeding. I was counsel for the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and the Honorable Mahama Yariga in challenging the e-levy legislation at the Supreme Court. At the time when the matter was at the Supreme Court, that was the same time President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assented to the e-levy law. So at that time, when the claim was made that because my brother Richard Delasky was at the court, and for that matter, the president's hand ought to be stayed from assenting, it was just an opportunity. But this was even the darker side of the reason why President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo refused to assent. Look, I go to Joy Business this morning, and there's a story there. Joy Business.
What has business story got to do with LGBTQ?
Yes, and that is where it becomes even more. Joy Business News, 4th March 2024. The Ministry of Finance is raising concerns about the implications of Akufo-Addo potential assent to the recently passed anti-LGBTQ. And this is what the Finance Ministry said, that should President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assent to the act, government of Ghana was going to lose an amount of $3.6 billion. The darker reason why the Akufo-Addo administration refused to assent to the e-levy law was basically financial, money, sikadro. At that time, the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo felt that it was proper that his refusal will bring us more money. And look, the finance minister, Honorable Amin Anta, in a letter by the Ministry of Finance, this is what they stated. In the 5-page document, the ministry explained that government of Ghana will lose $600 million budget support, $250 million for financial stability fund, and it will negatively impact our
what is wrong with this?
Reserves. The point I am making is that all the reason that had been covered this morning as the basis for the refusal had nothing to do with that. It was simply monetary. Sika. So Akufo-Addo at that time had the benefit of protecting Ghanaian family values, but opted for money. He had an election. He had a choice. Decide for money or decide to assent. And he said, I want money. But you see, I have with me the second session of the 9th Parliament of the Republic of Ghana report dated April 2026. What is it? Report of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs on the Human Sexual Rights and Family Value Bill 2025, but then it was submitted in April 2026. This is the conclusion. The committee, having carefully considered the bill, unanimously recommends that this Honorable House adopt this report and pass the Human Sexual Rights and Family into law in accordance with Article 106 of the Constitution. Submitted respectfully, Honorable James Enu, Vice Chairman for Constitutional Legal.
The question then is, why is it that you now have in the current bill that has been passed exceptions that were not well pronounced to be exceptions in the previously passed bill in 2024, Eduji?
Thankfully, I have never had the benefit of becoming a member of parliament. He has. And I want to
He was a prominent member.
And I want to rely on his superior experience as an MP. First of all, when this new bill, and he knows by law, once a bill is passed and not assented to, it dies without Parliament. Is that in doubt? Not. Did President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assent to the bill? The answer is an overwhelming no. So by reason of law and operation of law, that bill ceased to exist. Since 1992, has any president ever inherited a bill passed under a previous parliament?
The proponents of the previous bill have not changed.
At this point, we are talking about constitutional law. No emotions. Yeah. Constitutional law. The received learning is that when Parliament passes a bill and the bill did not receive an assent, presidential assent, it dies without Parliament. That is not in doubt. So by reason of that operation, the bill died. And therefore, it was reintroduced. I will not on this platform, even for anything, appear to know better than our MPs. So when the matter came, a committee comprising NDC MPP met at the Fiesta Royal Hotel. And in that meeting, as part of the committee's engagement, they called Shrash. In fact, they called the Honorable Samuel George Nati. They called Reverend Intim Fojo, Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra, among others. Guess who the composition of that committee is? The respected Hassan Tampoli, a seasoned lawyer.
The member of for Gushegu.
Gushegu,
okay,
representing the good people of Gushegu. He was on that committee. The Honorable Enyimedu, very respected man, on that committee. Very prominent lawyers were on that committee.
What's your point with mentioning some of these names?
The reason why I'm doing this is that the composition of that committee comprised very seasoned and respected NPP legislators and lawyers for that matter, including my own friend, Patrick Boama. They proposed these amendments. And look at the committee report at page recommendations. After careful deliberation, the committee proposed the following proposed amendments. It's all stated. All the amendments.
What's your point with it? That is bipartisan, and that because of that representation.
Bipartisan.
Why did somebody will say it's not fair?
Hold on, please. See, this is it. Paragraph 60, recommendations. This is the committee's report. So everything that the MPP minority is complaining about in Parliament were proposals that were seconded by their own members of the committee. And in fact, at the tail end, this is what the vice chairman of the committee recommended. He said, having carefully considered, unanimously recommend. What the meaning of unanimity? What it means
Who is the vice chairman of the committee again?
Honorable James Tema West, MP. What it means is that there was no minority dissent. There was no minority report. He knows. And he has the experience. When a committee goes and there are problems, the minority will stay their position if they are opposed to it. In the absence of any, what it means is that the entire committee, comprising very seasoned MPP legislators, proposed these amendments. And those amendments, in fairness to our constitutional democracy, were unanimously passed by the House. How in God's name would anybody, therefore, in the spirit of candor and fairness, suggest even remotely that it's a question of hypocrisy and watering down the impact of this? In any case, and I say this, if President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo felt that the bill passed by the likes of the Honorable Japa Mensah was bad enough, was not fit for purpose, the Constitution created a pathway. Yeah. The Constitution says, Mr. President, respectfully, write a memo to Parliament for reconsideration and suggest your recommendation to them. What did President Akufo-Addo do? Arrogantly tell the clerk of Parliament to cease and desist. Look, you see, and I've always maintained, in politics we make mistakes. Sometimes a decision you will take You think that is the best for your people. It will turn out to be a fiasco. And one of them, I remember in 2016.
Did you wrap up for
Yes,
me?
I'm wrapping up. When President Mahama proposed the idea of cancelling nursing training and teacher training allowance, it was one of the decisions that personally I struggled with because I had a senior brother who went to Danbury Training College. And anytime he vacates, the allowance that he will get, he will bring some home. And so I remember with the then Chief of Staff, now Chief of Staff, Julio Debra on the campaign, usually I will speak and I will introduce him. How I struggled anytime I needed to defend the cancellation of this. It was a decision that we took and we suffered for it. But in all humility, when we got the opportunity to reconsider, we said, look, we would reintroduce it. So if you look at our 2020-2024 manifesto, we expressly said we're going to reintroduce the teacher training and nursing training. That's what you do in politics. Yeah. The ability to do self-introspection. Suddenly the MPP feels a certain level of wisdom that they claim departed from them when they had the benefit of governance. How come? You are basically now pontificating to us better ways of doing things. You had solid 8 years. What was it?
Well, a simple question before you. Why is it that you're not passing this wholesomely, irrespective of what the committee report does indicate?
When our friends in the MPP say we should pass it wholesome, he and I, our trade, in fact, our permanent job is legal representation and quality legal representation. Imagine we sit here and we have the benefit of providing client service. And that person includes somebody charged under this legislation. We should be charged for having committed a criminal offense. When the Constitution itself says a person has a right to legal representation, academic freedom is one that is considered all over the world, including but not limited to you, the work of a journalist. So this morning, as a journalist, putting this topic up for discussion, if you make any comment that suggests, even remotely, an advocacy for such right, you can be charged. That will be extreme. And so President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, with all the lawyers surrounding him, and know that President Akufo-Addo had a lawyer as his secretary, not like President Mahama, but that lawyer decided to give a cease and desist. Instead of telling him that the Constitution says, Mr. President, if you have amendment, propose, and Parliament will duly consider it. In the absence of that, where is the hypocrisy? It is rather the lack of candor.
Lawyer Pierre Nankwa has also joined us.
That should not be entertained.
Dr. Tutuboy, I'll be with you. But also getting your observation on this. There's nothing wrong with that, really. The executive secretary president of the president's letter that was dated the 18th of March 2024, really, that the president is taking notice. Of course, not in terms of judicial notice, so to speak, but just taking notice that there are actions before the court by interest groups, and as a result of that, I want you to hold on. Let's take a relook at that, and then when all those matters are finished before the courts, then why not? You bring the bill as passed, and I will sign. That is being used as an excuse by the majority today, and Director Legal of the NDC, Edu Gitamaklo, is also using same as an excuse.
As an excuse for what?
That they had a period to pass it, they didn't do it, and the president at the time didn't assent to it. And so this one, thorough examination, interest groups have come in, and so those exceptions are in the current bill as passed.
So let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning and apologize for appearing late on the platform. Uncharacteristically, I fell into some unexpected traffic. Then wish yourself a good morning. Wish my two learned brothers here a good morning. I think we met in say over the weekend.
Absolutely.
And wish my professor here a good morning. And to say that at least for the part of the argument that I heard my learned friend Edu made, I stand on all forces with them. And my understanding is essentially is to question the credibility of now the opposition in the kind of arguments what's called.
What do you mean by question their credibility?
That's my understanding. So my understanding of the points Edudzi is making is essentially to or if I'm wrong, Edudzi, you can question me. My interpretation of his argument is questioning the credibility or the integrity of the now opposition in the kind of arguments they are making. They themselves having had what's called almost not had 8 years to pass what's called this bill that seems to represent or seems to protect the collective what's called values of Ghana. I think that Paparo, we need to understand that what we are running here is a constitutional democracy. One of the fundamental principles under this system is the principle of constitutionalism. And what this principle seeks to do is to limit the powers of government. When you say the powers of government here, it's not just the executive, but also the parliament, the judiciary itself. So that's the focus of our constitution, because our constitution in 1992, for that was the only way in which we could secure for ourselves the purpose of the constitution, which is to protect the lives of the people of Ghana, which is to protect the liberties of the people of Ghana, which is to protect our fundamental right to pursue our own happiness. Now, one of the tools in which the constitution proposed in limiting, let's say, the powers of parliament was the assent issue. So where parliament sits and they pass a bill, before the bill becomes law, the bill is sent to the president for the president to assent. Now, the understanding is that the president more or less reviews what's called the work of parliament. And where the president, for whatever reason, feels that, listen, there are grounds for why I cannot discharge with my constitutional duty, I need to give my reasons within a set time. He does the essence, you understand, and give my reasons. And you see, the assent issue is one that is a constitutional function. Yeah. Now, the question that we need to ask is whether or not an injunction can prevent the performance of a constitutional function. I think this question was emphatically dealt with in the case of Kufuor and Attorney General, where the court made it clear that a mere injunction cannot stop any
the performance of a constitutional
duty. So, in the light of that, and listen, I can criticize Nanado for how, but I do not have the legs to question his knowledge of the Constitution. In any case, I said that if you are going to refer to the MPP, that's sometimes I try to extricate the MPP from some of the things that happened in the last year, but they themselves don't want me to extricate them. Last week I tried to extricate them, but they didn't allow me to extricate them. You understand? Because if there's one profound MPP did for this country, was how MPP helped in entrenching a lot of these constitutional principles in the MPP cases. So I know for a fact that Nanado really, he understands more than I myself.
You mean within our legal jurisprudence?
Nanado is a champion when it comes to what's called his
Lawyer Pierre Dankwa, where are you going with this?
The point is, Nanado was the lawyer in Tufan and Attorney General.
And so?
He was part of the legal team. And so Nanado, more than anybody else, understands that a mere injunction cannot tie his hands in the performance of his function as President of Ghana. He knows that more than myself. And so for me, I was very disappointed when being to another great lawyer by just mere desist and prevented the president from discharging his constitutional duty. And the discharge of that constitutional duty does not mean that you must assent. Where you disagree with the assent.
Lawyer Pierre Dankwa, this is the letter. It says that the office is aware of 2 pending applications for an order of interlocutory injunction. Simple.
That's why I made the first point. That, and if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. I have 2 fantastic great lawyers say they can correct me. My understanding is that a mere injunction cannot stop.
It never stopped them in assenting to the E-levy law.
No, I understand. I think
which was even earlier in time.
So that position is clear. A mere injunction cannot stop any arm of government from discharging with their constitutional duty. We ought to understand that point. And so that claim of injunction for me is not here nor there. I'm saying that Nanado, because of his historic credentials as a great constitutional lawyer, himself having been Attorney General of this country, understands this more than myself, more than any of us. And that makes the position they took even more disappointing. That's the position, the point I'm trying to. You see, and it gives the impression that either they were running away or they actually support or were against this law, the protection of the family value bill. It gives me the impression. It makes me wonder, and it's a legitimate wonder, whether or not indeed they support LGBTQ. It's a legitimate. It's something legitimate for me to consider. Is it a case that they support, secretly, consciously support the introduction of LGBT in this country, and they deliberately did everything to prevent this law from being passed?
But they had their members in the majority. They passed it at the time, so those conclusions.
But it was the same president whose MPs, I know my friend in Japan was a part of those people, who asked him that sack the finance minister.
You mean the 94?
The 94. Sack the finance. So it's not as if the president agreed entirely with NPP MPs and vice versa. Because they asked him, sack your finance minister, and said no. You understand? Now, having said that, I think, you see, what we ought to understand is that because that bill was not passed, whether legally or not legally, I think we've passed that stage. But what it means is that that bill is dead. It's dead. It's not as if is there and then is there, and even if it was there, what prevents us from having a self-introspection and saying, listen, we ought to amend portions of it? You understand? So let's also get that clear. Now, having had the benefit of this report, that says that the MPP's representatives on the committee that reviewed the bill, having unanimously agreed with the said amendments, then what will be the credible basis for the kind of loud noises being made?
What do you mean by loud noise?
So over the last week, we've been inundated with issues from the minority that suggests that they are against the proposed amendments.
Yeah, because the exceptions, they say, should not be entertained.
The amendments are in clause 6.
The bill that was passed should be same as was before the 8th Parliament.
Clause 60.
Simple.
Of the committee's report.
You see, I only have, so this is a constitutional democracy that some of us are promoting, that we should have a culture that allows for open disagreement.
Yeah.
That we are advocating for that, because that's one of the ways in which you can. I've had arguments with my big brother here. Every time we met, and we're happy with each other. He criticizes me, I criticize him, and after we laugh and we are happy, because that is one of the bedrocks of democracy. So it's normal if the minority would disagree. Yes, it's normal. So my argument, and I think that was the argument Eddie was making, is not to say that they are wrong in disagreeing or not. You have a fundamental right to disagree. Our argument is that, having had the benefit of this report, that suggests that the MPP reps on the committee unanimously agreed with the proposed amendment. I find it very worrying that the MPP would then, as a collective, give Ghanaians the impression that they are against these amendments, because we've done something which ought not to be partisan. Well, because the impression I'm getting is that when it comes to LGBT, we seem to have a common position. We've managed to turn something which ought not to be partisan into a partisan battle, creating more noise. To what end? That was one of the issues that I personally have with the MPP as it is now. And I need to make that clear. It's like their focus is not necessarily on helping, be it in opposition or in power. Because, like I said, MPP did so much good for Ghana when they were in opposition between 1992 and 2000. Did fantastic job for this country, and so they can also still be useful in opposition. Like we are in opposition, I don't think we are useless. You understand? Because you can be so useful, and everybody has proven that they've done so much for this country in opposition. So that when we are having political discourse, you understand, and per this report and per what I know from individuals in MPP, they are in agreement with this. Then why do you give the impression that you disagree and cause us to talk about your credibility? So it's like you yourself are opening yourself up for us to talk about your credibility or the lack of your credibility. Because these amendments in my opinion, constitute issues which some of us felt the old law, as it was,
should have contained.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I understand. So,
please wrap up for me.
To wrap up, I think I feel strongly that in how Nana-Addo ran away from that, from his considered duty, it was something we should have considered impeachment, but we didn't consider it. You understand? The reason we should have impeached him for that. He was unfaithful. Yeah, he was. I want to put it on record. He was unfaithful to Ghana. You understand? But we've passed that stage.
Actually, he failed to perform his constitutional duty.
But having said that, in the spirit of our Ghanaians, I'll call my brothers in the NPP. It's not every issue that you would need to be playing partisan games with. We are all in agreement as to why these amendments are necessary. Your members there unanimously agree to them. Let us come together and quickly, right now we have a president who is committed. We didn't have a president. Our former president was not committed to the Ghana agenda. Or we have a president who clearly so far shown that he's committed to the Ghana agenda. Let us reason about whether there's clear commitment to pass.
Are you saying that if they have disagreements, they shouldn't air them? Key disagreements.
Thank you for your... And so to end, let me end.
No, you have ended.
No, I haven't ended.
You have ended.
So let all of us come together as one. Let us pass this bill. I think it has already been passed, and I trust that the president will quickly sign it, and then we'll have this to protect our common values.
How quickly do you think, if the bill is transmitted to the president, he should sign it? Because already during his interactions with Ghanaians in the UK, he says that if it's placed before him, he'll sign it.
Yes. So good morning once again to all of us, and good morning to our viewers. I think that per this question. Yes, if the president deems it fit, per what Edwiji earlier on read, okay, that if the bill is given to the president and the president feels that everything is okay with it, he has to sign. But if the president, probably upon advice, sees that there are certain things to be done, then of course he has about 2 weeks, right? Edwiji?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what you read.
That is if.
That is if he has a concern. And for me, as quickly as possible, if there is no problem with it. Because I think that the majority of Ghanaians, the clergy, the Christian community, the Muslim community, everyone is looking up to when this bill will be passed. But for me, Roland, I think that what Ghanaians actually favor, with regards to the passage of this bill, is that Ghanaians are looking forward to a bill that would favor a straight, zero tolerant, ban on the practices of LGBTQ+. Within this jurisdiction, and should frown on any individual institution that actually backs LGBTQ+ practices in this country. And that is where I feel that though Parliament has passed, there should be some level of consideration with regards to, the objections that the minority in Parliament is raising. All right. Now, if Ghana is demanding that we frown on these acts or these activities, and that, anyone who may be engaged in it is not fit for the purposes of protecting our culture, for the purposes of safeguarding future generations and all that, I don't see why we shouldn't, take a second look. Papa Ro, I feel that, yes, we've all agreed, or the three lawyers have all agreed on the fact that this is bipartisan kind of engagement that has led to the production of this particular document. All right. And that suggests that we don't need to put a partisan face, to issues regarding LGBTQ+, and it's the passage of the bill. And so I want us to move beyond this issue about partisanship and then look at the moral debates, you know, as well as a deep and thorough scrutiny, you know, of legislative integrity, political motives and rationale, and then the constitutional issues and implications, you know, of the passage of this bill. And I feel that that would be very much important to us going forward as a country. If you are going to sit, have debates that talks about what the MPP did and couldn't do, and what the NDC is doing and cannot do, we wouldn't be going forward. If you are not careful, you put out a kind of bill in there that probably will create some gaps, you know, to enforce future practices. And that is the fear. Because if you look at these exemptions and what it is coming out, I think that with the exception of academic integrity, right, the other ones, I see some level of gaps in there.
For your academic integrity, that one is good.
Yes, because this is.
But the others are not.
Yes.
No, so
I'm saying that
if he publishes an article on it, everything will be well. But the lawyers can't represent.
Yes, so
or the media.
Yes, so I remember one of my colleagues at Methodist University those days, you know, was doing something. She is a psychologist, and was doing something with regards to these LGBT, you know, people. And she has to go to nightclubs, stay with them deep in the night, you know, to even identify people and then speak to them, right? And that is the kind of hazard, let me say, that she went through, you know, to be able to produce a PhD thesis, right? And when you look at the responses that some of them were giving, obviously, you cannot just bring certain names out. You understand? This is purely research. And that is why in research, you don't mention names. Sometimes you even give pseudonyms, all right, and identities. So even if I am interviewing 3 lawyers here, you know, to look at the legal perspectives of LGBTQ+.
Or whether if any of them is an LGBTQ person.
You see, I cannot go and mention A's name, but I give interviewer A, that one is known to me. But I cannot go and declare that this person is practicing LGBTQ. But do you know even that some of the issues in the document talks about the fact that you cannot protect people. That if you know somebody who is practicing and you fail to produce the person's identity, that one too is a crime. Right? So it sounds as if that certain clarity should come up. Should come up. If you are not careful, at a point in time, we will be getting people who are into the rare practice, but maybe medical doctors.
Well, there are who are into medical.
Okay.
Of all fields.
Exactly. So then it becomes a problem for us. So we need to put some clarity in here, scrutinize the bill very well, to be able to iron out the loose ends. All right.
It's been passed. It's been passed.
So nothing can be done.
They just have to transmit to the president within 14 days. Then
that.
But you are exempted. You said that that was a good thing. Academicians.
Papa Ru, how many minutes did you give me?
10 minutes so far.
So I've done 10.
Yes. Just conclude for me.
So what I'm saying is that though we are demanding for it, and we want to see that this bill is going to put, you know, a decisive end to LGBTQ plus practices in Ghana. I am of the opinion that probably if it is leaving the decks of parliament and going to the presidency should scrutinize it very well. And probably if there are some loose ends, the president could call for some tightening.
Well, Japa, just 2 minutes on this before we just we want to talk about transport first quickly. The Catholic Bishop Conference, they are congratulating Parliament. So what's the hula baloo about?
But of course, if you listen to me closely, I indicated that let's all await the final act itself so that we can do a content analysis to see whether the act as passed meets the expectation of Ghanaians. So I don't have any difficulty at all. Okay. But this fixation on Akufo-Addo and what he did or didn't do, I don't seem to understand though. In any event, this 106.8 that you make reference to couldn't have been triggered because the president, in fact, never received the bill. Whether you agree with the posturing of the secretary to the president or not, it's neither here nor there. The truth of the matter is that the bill never got to the office of the president. That's a matter of fact. Okay, so let's not, and in any event, who says that the committee's report is binding on Parliament? And that by reason of the fact that members of the committee have agreed in a certain way, every member of Parliament is bound by the text of
that is at the plenary.
Not at all. Indeed, individuals can proffer amendments to the bill. The bill goes in there in a certain form. By the time it comes out, it has changed in nature completely. So let's wait. I haven't had the benefit of the final document that Parliament has passed. Let's wait. I'm prepared to grant the president and the government the benefit of the doubt. We all abhor this LGBTQ thing plus, and we will support the president if indeed and in fact the bill that ultimately is signed into law meets the expectation of the people of Ghana. That's all. That's simple as that.
Do you think that the government and the NDC have been caught pants down because of these exceptions and the consent?
Let's wait and see what will come out.
Okay, Eduji, the president, you sure he's going to sign, despite all his comments publicly?
Thankfully, Dr. Callistus Mahama is not going to write a cease and desist letter. That I'm certain. What is also not in doubt is this popular Ghana song, Ayefe Noche.
Noche fool.
You see, all this thing is campaign.
What do you mean by campaign?
You had the opportunity to pass this. You wasted that opportunity. NDC in fact, remember that the law itself was introduced in 2021. The bill was introduced in 2021. As of 2024, that's almost 3 years. It was never assented to.
Yeah.
Within 15 months of the coming into power of the NDC administration, it has been reintroduced. Muslim leaders, queen mothers, traditional authorities, and in fact, if you look at the committee's report, they gave an indication of all the people who appeared before, civil society groups, among others, and very seasoned MPs. And the bottom line is that Parliament has gotten this passed. President Mahama will have the benefit of getting this law assented to. And if you look at the preamble, and our union leader expressed some issues. If you look at the object of the law, it has 7 parts. It simply says, quote, that the law prohibits and criminalizes same-sex relationship, marriage, and gender-affirming medical procedure. Straightforward. It leaves no ambiguity. That is what, to the glory of God, has been passed.
Unanimously.
The president should just quickly.
Not in doubt.
Irrespective of.
So the president.
So what if there's a petition before the courts, or maybe a writ is found?
I think that
we are not going to sponsor any lawsuit to stop us from assenting it.
So, like my
do it.
big brother rightly said, as in spite of the arguments with media, the MPs have a right. It's the same with the president also has a right to disagree. My expectation is that he just follows the tenets of the
106.
106. Yeah, as in, I don't have the right to tell the president that sign. Like I didn't have the right to tell Nado sign. All our expectation simply is that follow the terms of our constitution. If the president reads the bill and he finds that there are portions that ought to be what's called amended. I think he has the benefit of Article 106 to do that, and I have no doubt, based on what I've seen so far, that the president will follow the terms of the law, and that's all we are asking of him.
Yes, President should sign straight away?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, my position has not changed.
Okay.
And I think that from the lawyers, Article 106, is what the president, should look at, right? And I feel that this will be a welcoming news, for Ghana and for all well-meaning Ghanaians who want to protect the dignity, the credibility, and then the cultural values, of this country. So, for me, I feel that yes, in as much as there's no problem with it, the president should go ahead. If there's a problem, quickly the president must alert Parliament, get the right things to be done, and then as soon as possible.
All right. I have a couple of comments on it, but I want to go to talk about the transport issues. So I'll quickly do that. Aaron Asante Entries says that I should ask senior lawyer Eduji, his fixation on a purported cease and desist letter is well noted, but whether he's prepared for a little history. Was it not President Mahama who on 31st January 2024 met with members of the clergy in the Eastern region and publicly stated his opposition to the LGBTQ right? Was he not the same person who argued that the legislation should be introduced as a government-sponsored bill? If so, did he ever take steps to do so? And then continues that the president's foreign minister not abstain from voting on the LGBTQ matter at the United Nations. If President Mahama cannot sign the very bill he and the NDC pressured President Akufo-Addo to assent to, then what exactly is the principle in the NDC's argument? All right. We know transport fares will go up, and that's according to one of the groups, and COMAC as their name. We have their representative on the line currently. Good morning to you, and we do understand that you intend making sure that you implement this. Dr. Riverson. All right, transport fares.
Yes, maybe just my senior, he has had
just
the benefit.
Three or 2 minutes on this.
He has had the benefit of being working at the higher ministerial level. The beautiful thing with Ghana is that transport fares are not increased unilaterally. There's always a consultative process that is engaged prior to such increases. This morning, I've listened to the Minister for Transport, the Honorable Joseph Ninkpe, where he's made the point that the ministry is yet to meet the transport unions. I've also heard one of the chair of one of the transport unions, and he makes the point that, well, they have proposed 20, and that they believe that the engagement with the ministry, they may come down to maybe 15 or something. I've also listened to the Aboso-Okan spare parts dealers, because one of the grounds that the transport union are saying, one of the things they are relying on is the fact that spare parts costs had gone up. The Aboso-Okan people are also saying no, that spare parts and the prices have been stable over the period. So the question is, who is really telling what? But we should not forget one thing. Transport is such an essential thing as far as this economy is concerned, that at no point in time should, with respect, a few people hijack the process, because then it can become a potent tool in terms of national security concerns. And that is what I've always maintained, that the state cannot, under no circumstance, leave transportation only in the hands of private people. A private person who does not believe in the welfare of the state may actually use transport issues as a potent mechanism for creating national security uncertainty among others. So I strongly believe that this government has demonstrated absolute good faith to our transport owners, particularly the private sector. And I want to believe that they should reciprocate that kind gesture in not undertaking any unilateral decision that would impact negatively on the economy.
Lawyer Pamesa, what will be your observations? That prices
to
at the
the
pumps
extent that increases in transport fares affect the ordinary Ghanaian, any increase would be concerning. But I'm really surprised that with inflation at 3% or thereabout, and that Bampapa that has come that fuel prices are trending in a certain direction.
Senior hating juniors.
Oh, that be body blow. But you see, that's the reality. That's what he said to us when fuel prices were low at the pumps. It's been established that indeed and in fact, government really hasn't got a lot of control on the pricing of petroleum products, and that it's largely determined by the global market prices, as we saw with the onset of this crisis in the Middle East. Okay, yeah. So I believe we can put that to rest. Ghanaians have clearly come to appreciate that indeed it wasn't Akufo-Addo who was the wicked president who increased petroleum prices when it's a matter of the dynamics of the market. But yes, I know that, like Eduji said, it's not a unilateral decision. The transport unions cannot by themselves increase prices as and when they please. There has to be some consultations that usually takes place. And as he mentioned, if the minister has indicated that engagement is going to take place before it is applied, let's see how it plays out. But these guys are also in business to make profit. Okay, and if the input cost increases, then it cannot be that they are expected to shoulder that burden without passing it on to the final consumer. So let's see how.
There are also people say prices of spare parts have maintained relatively stable. So let's see
prices have gone up.
Well, we'll see how the engagement.
And I think that in the past there was a certain threshold, that informed how the prices. Movement of prices.
Yeah, I think there's a framework, and that is why the ministry is saying that one person cannot unilaterally adjust those input variables. To the detriment of Ghana.
Yeah. So
the prices at the pumps are up. So is a good argument or not a good argument?
Oh, it's a good argument. Except that that wasn't the only reason they gave. They also mentioned the spare parts issue. I think my two brothers here have dealt with the issue well. I also heard the Deputy Minister for Trade also talk about government buying more buses to deal with. My personal view is that, listen, we need to sit down and create a transport system that works. We are talking about public transport here. For me, this issue of the ministry engaging with GPRT all the time, and it's just that that's how the ministry works. For me, that does not cut it for me. We want, you see, I think we all agree here that we ought to alter the structure of our economy. We've spoken about it. For whatever reason, no government has managed to do it. I think because of the goodwill this government has. So far, it has a lot of goodwill. And in terms of managing the flawed system, I think it's doing well. But for me, that would not be enough. We need to change the structure of the economy. I believe that it's actually my capacity to do that.
To diversify.
To change the structure of the economy. Having said that, let's take the opportunity to change the structure of the transport system. Because it's a key driver of the economy. Well, I recall that His Excellency John Evans Atamils began a comprehensive rapid transport system. We've allowed it to slide.
It was begun in the Kufuor administration.
It was
BRT, yes.
Okay, so
it was a World Bank project.
Fantastic. And His Excellency John Evans Atamils also did some work. I think we've allowed it to slide for a long time. I think we should really look at it. As in, I can't understand why we have not developed our real system. And this has nothing to do with partisanship. I think it's a collective failure of all of us as politicians. And with this increase in fares, I think for me, it's the right time for us to really look at our transport system. Let us come together and create.
And lawyer, you are so right. Can you imagine that next year will be 70 years?
Yeah.
People in the northern parts of this country have never seen a railway line,
Yes.
not even a kilometer of it. It's our collective favor, and I strongly believe that we have the opportunity to take some of this groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Imagine doing a train. I have had to do train 2 hours from Busan to Seoul, you know, in South Korea, and being quite
South Korea.
Yeah, you see. And I am saying that we can connect. Look at Mombasa. It's about 600 kilometers of rail to Mombasa, the port.
Yeah.
From here to northern region, it's about 700. It means that it's doable.
But in fact, even Ethiopia, I'm not the one from Addis to Djibouti. You understand? So for me, the railway sector has the potential to transform.
Completely.
Because a great nation like the US, one of the drivers of the economic transformation was in their rail system. And they did almost all their rail system in less than a generation, 25 years. So for me, as in, you see, let's play the partisanship when we play, but there are some issues that for me...
No, this one there, we have to agree on railway lines.
And then quickly...
Non-partisan.
What's your own
one will ask why we are spending $4 billion on...
I'm happy
consultation or no consultation? Yes.
I'm happy when
$4 billion.
There's an agreement that
on a 300 kilometer less.
Discussed
why $5 billion
from a political angle, and I think that the railway system is one of them.
Dollars.
On a more serious note, yesterday I was going through, one other end of Accra, and I was asking, so where are the railway lines here? They were gone. Whether people have just cut it or it has been covered with whatever it is. Even in Accra, railway system is not continuous. And so the question is, what are we doing? Are we giving priority to it? I think that the decision or the suggestion to look at, the structure of our economy and the transport system is a good one. And I want to believe that at every introduction of an intervention within the transport, industry, what we are seeing is that it doesn't seem to be quite continuous. I mean, from the Liman era, even up to now, various interventions, from the public transport system, and it comes for a period and it is off. Just as the RBT that we are talking about
BRT.
now. BRT, yes. Now, the road that were constructed for them, Trotros are using it. All right. So, issue about sustainability, we are not deep neck into those things. And I think that we need to take some of these things serious. I believe that when we are able to do this, you see, it will force certain prices or lorry fares down, and this issue about fuel increases and its corresponding, increases in fuel fares will not be something that, we should be sitting to be talking about. The issue is that government should introduce public sector competition so they can compete with the private sector, and that will kill some of these discussions.
Okay, let's speak to the CEO of the Chamber for is it OMCs or so? And Dr. Riverson Opon, good morning.
Good morning.
Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, to be more appropriate. So we know that the prices will keep increasing marginally before we have an adjustment due to the crisis that happened, or if it's even still ongoing. But for the other stakeholders like transport operators, etc., who are the consumers of your product, so to speak, what will be your advisory when it comes to they also making the suggestion and taking the position they want to increase prices or fares?
Right. Good morning. It's an allowed, unfortunate situation that we are seeing now. They can justify beyond oil, for example, that fuel prices are going up. Today, as we speak, diesel came down marginally. Petrol went up. you can argue the fact that, yes, the trotro people use diesel, so why they're looking at increasing fuel prices? Depending on where you sit, you can argue based on your point. One thing I've realized looking at the data, I asked your producer to show one slide I sent to him. If you take a look at the January prices till to date, there are instances where prices came down, and we didn't see fuel price going down to meet the prices that diesel and petrol were being sold at. You know that there's a war, and this war today, as we speak, is ended. As a matter of fact, petrol prices, in terms of crude oil, came down. Crude oil price came down. Surprisingly, petrol prices went up as a petroleum product, where diesel went down. You understand? And this actually butters the fact that I always say that when crude oil prices go up or go down, it doesn't necessarily mean that its commodities will follow that trend. And it's an clear example that crude oil price have gone down, but petrol, PMS, went up. At the same time, crude oil price were coming down. It tells you also that these are markets that we have no control over.
Yeah.
It's internationally and geopolitically aligned with situations and supply and also demand.
Okay, Dr. Paul, let me ask you this. You take a look at, so far, the stalemate we've had. You look at the dynamics internationally, we haven't had any disruptions. And so the hope is that we'll continue this way. There will be a truce, and subsequently the market will adjust. Based on you speaking to your colleagues or other stakeholders at the international level, when do you think we're likely to see a return to the status quo before the start of the crisis?
Right. So if you take a look at our outlook report, our pricing outlook that was published on Friday, you see that for the past 3 windows, the price of crude oil have dropped consistently, okay? And that gives us the hope that the trend of dropping is now. And in fact, as a matter of fact, we already suggested and we forecasted that the crude oil price is going to go down, but not necessarily to where we were in the 60s, but to the 80s in the next 2 windows, which is possible if nothing happens.
Okay.
You understand? But as we speak, LPG price have come down relatively. Diesel price have come down. Just petrol for this particular window went up miraculously, and that is actually based on demand and supply, availability of the product. That drove this particular instance. But things are getting better, and we hope that in the next 2 windows we should be laughing. That's the more reason why I would rather the transport fares are a bit held on, because you and I know that when fuel price come down, these total guys are going to give us other reasons for keeping the prices. Today, because petrol prices are going up, but tomorrow when it comes down, they'll tell something else has gone up. So we need to be careful not to insinuate a self-inflation that we don't want to see.
Okay, my time is up.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Pong, you've spoken like a stakeholder leading the industry at the same time a consumer. So we thank you. Speaking on our behalf as consumers, I wish you the best of the day or the morning, okay?
Thank you.
But thank you, gentlemen, as well. It's been positive representation, and then also, of course, what the outcomes have been by way of your submissions. I'll just take a couple more of the messaging. I'm grateful today. Our diasporan viewers haven't given us a lot of messages on the LGBTQ. So I have this one from one of them I won't mention. He said, today, dear, I can't comment. I did here with them. And I'm sure it's because of LGBT. I think they monitor your social media accounts, right? So, and then I have another one. He says that, Charlie, even one of my workers is one. He knows my account very well. He knows that I monitor programs back home. So today, dear, forgive me. That's nice. But let's look at the local people. They are interested in the subject matter. Ni Atukwekwe says that the government is also tell your panelists and everybody else that the government is not afraid of assenting to the bill that has been passed by Parliament because the economy is strong and the government won't go borrowing in relation also to the subject matter of transport fares. Oh, okay. All right. And then I have a couple more. Kofi Sika, I see your message. And then Notedria, the clinical psychologist, well known, says that a great discussion so far. And Master Planner Junior, policy analyst Kintampo, says President Nana Akufo-Addo has been vindicated on the issue of not signing the old LGBTQ plus bill in 2024, and says the hypocrisy of Lawyer Duji and the Honorable Sam George has been exposed. So, policy analyst Kintampo. Gentlemen, thank you. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest headlines when it comes to sports. But again, we have to tell you, Big Issue is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. Now, they're asking you to apply for their program. So they have many programs, HR, when it comes to finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, or business, intelligence, analytics, or just in case you want to advance to get their dual MBA, chartered manager MBA as well. They have everything else for you. MSc International Relations, Business Analytics, International Law, Security Diplomacy, Accounting, Finance, among many others. Now, they make it flexible for you. So if you're a worker and you want the schedules undertaken, their programs well customized or tweaked, you can also pay in installments. So it's easy. Please make sure you do the application. Call them now. And so their phone line will be 026 388 8555. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Let's laugh. Let's just laugh. When you see the person who's in the studio, you understand why we're laughing. So laugh. Don't worry. Just be happy. Be laughing. And then after you're done laughing, now we can put the camera on him so that you see him and even laugh more. Because as it stands now, he's crying, but we are laughing. He couldn't even wear red.
Oh, Charlie.
You're wearing yellow. You're not even shy.
Bella.
After all the noise.
Bella.
Don't call me Bella. Please. If you're an Arsenal fan, don't mention my name.
Oh.
Worry.
Emu.
Worry.
After wearing what I wore on Saturday to
what did you wear?
To come in. Oh.
Your jersey.
I wore a jersey and a sash.
Hey.
Hey.
Because you thought you were winning.
Oh, I used it to do a whole 1 hour show.
And then after that, where did you go?
I went to Good Park.
You went to Good Park to go and watch?
Oh. After that, I went to the mall, and the people who saw
After
me,
you lost, you went to the mall?
Yes.
Why did you go home?
Why should I go home? I was wallowing in my sorrows. People saw me and they were saying take heart and things.
Oh!
See.
Oh, he's not wearing red socks. His socks are black today. Like he didn't even want to wear anything close. Nothing close.
No red. No red this week.
Charlie, How are you feeling?
I'm alive.
You have to be alive. You don't have a choice.
I'm alive.
You're alive, eh?
Yeah.
It could have been worse.
Yeah, it could
Oh,
have.
sorry.
I'll take it like that.
Kafra.
At least Yaji Trophy.
Please.
Yaji Premier League.
You see, when you came here the last time, I told you be measured in your expectations. At least you won a cup.
Yes.
Take it easy. You said no, we are doubling it. We're going to get the second cup.
Wanted a double.
You didn't get it.
Yes.
So don't come and say at least we have a cup.
Oh, at least you have
You
a cup.
weren't satisfied last week.
I
You
was
wanted
not.
more.
Yes.
And here you are.
But we will take it like that.
So next time, will you still do Papa? Or...
Oh, next season, we'll be there.
Okay, you wait 22 years.
No. We'll be there next season. Don't worry.
As for there, every team will be there.
Oh,
As to whether you raise the cup is the question.
We will be there and raise it.
Yo, see how PSG has made you so sad. Oh, but good to see you in the studios, though.
Good to see you,
and congrats on not winning.
Bella.
Yeah. Today I came for you. I really was thinking about you. So don't worry, let's get into serious issues. Then we'll get to that one.
Thank you.
We'll talk about it at the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but let's talk about the Black Stars.
Yes.
What's happening today?
Today is a very special day. The day that Carlos Queiroz would release his final 26-month squad ahead of the 2026 World Cup. We've been waiting for a while. Today is the deadline, so he's going to let us know today. And then tomorrow will be the day that the Black Stars will be facing Wales. And that will be the first time he will be on the bench to actually watch them play against Wales. So all eyes on Carlos Queiroz. Currently, we have...
Is it Queiroz?
Queiroz.
Okay. I heard what the goalkeeper said. You know, there was a video... There was a video of them trying to pronounce...
Charlie, I sorry I didn't try.
It's Queiroz.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Carlos Queiroz.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Queiroz. Not Queiroz.
No,
Carry on.
Not Queiroz.
Carry on. So the list is going to come out today.
Yes.
But it's not as if we don't know who and who are going to be on the team anyway.
The thing is, so per calculations, we have 28. There are 5 goalkeepers in camp.
Yeah.
So naturally, your calculations will be 2 goalkeepers will be dropped.
Yeah.
There will be 3 remaining and all of that. But there could be some surprises in there. You never know.
Has it ever happened where we've taken more than 3 goalkeepers?
So per FIFA rules, you can take 4.
Oh, you can take 4. Have we ever taken 4?
No.
Okay. The most we've taken is 3.
It's 3.
Okay.
Usually, that's the common sense approach, to take 3. And besides, if you take 3 and at some point a goalkeeper gets injured, you can replace him with another goalkeeper during the tournament.
Okay.
So I don't think there's really any need to take 4.
But why did we need to bring 5 goalkeepers to camp? What was the
I'm guessing Queiroz wanted to really have a look at that position. I think he feels it's a position that is still not resolved yet, because there's been debates about Benjamin Asare and Atizigi for number 1. And then whoever comes along with him is also up for debate. Joseph Annan being there. There is, of course, Reverson, who is a very young goalkeeper in Ajax. And then there is Solomon Agbesi, who is also a very good goalkeeper from Hearts of Oak. So still up for debate. We'll see which 3 goalkeepers he would actually select.
I'm sure it's going to cause some tension in camp, because you can tell that it's definitely your group that's going to lose someone, kind of. But let's see, like you said, there may be surprises.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes, there's a hint of a possible surprise, which I cannot say yet. So when it comes, then I'll tell you.
Are they adding on someone or they're removing someone? What's the surprise?
Yeah, there might be someone removed because of fitness issues. Might.
Oh. Who is that?
So you see, when it comes out...
No, at the moment, who has fitness problems?
Oh, there are fitness problems in the team.
Who and who?
I'll not mention
Let us know so that we can... Is it not public knowledge?
No, it's not.
Why are people hiding it from us? We're all stakeholders.
When it comes, they will talk.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. So it's likely to drop and maybe add the day are you?
Hey!
I'm just asking.
Hey, Bella.
I'm just asking, because that's been the concern as well. And yesterday, the sports minister responded to it, that he didn't have any hand in the selection, so he cannot tell why Dede was not picked.
Yeah.
But is there a likelihood that we could have Dede Ayew on the team?
I'll be surprised.
It's not possible at this point.
No. From what we heard, he wasn't even in the 55 preliminary squad. So I'll be surprised if some way, somehow he ends up in there.
Oh, I see. It's not possible.
No, I don't think so.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we have the Wales game tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's going to be shown live on TV3.
Yes.
6:45?
6:45.
I
We'd have the whole team here to actually give you everything.
Okay.
Regards to the match as well. And Michael is already in Wales.
In Wales,
and
okay,
he'll
nice.
be reporting for us as well.
We're looking forward to it. I hear the team, the camp is tight. Like everything is on point. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. What's our chances against Wales? Even though it's a friendly.
It's a friendly, so
yeah, but